Sweet. Okay, we are live. We're live on YouTube. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, all the beautiful souls that are here live. And to those who will join us on the recording, um, no matter when you listen to this, when you come across this, whether it's in a couple of hours after this, whether it's a couple of years after this activation, it is the perfect time for you to be here to hear this message. And doesn't it seem like a lot of times life sends us those kind of synchronistic moments when we can hear something over and over again and hear it just in a little bit different of a language at the perfect time can then bring so much clarity of mind and understanding and wisdom, and that's what we call the truth awakens, and um, you perceive something from a higher perspective, and then all of a sudden it makes sense. And that journey has to be trusted. Some people will come across this activation and these videos and think that it's all crazy speak and think it's weird. And yet what I'm going to be talking about, there's like weird things popping up here. What I'm going to really be talking about today is some things we kind of already understand, so to speak, in the real world. And yet I'm going to put a little bit of a weird spin on it. The weird spin really takes it and elevates it, transcends the normal speak. And as I break this down, and I bring this message through, this activation through today, one of the things that I really would like for you to understand is being a multidimensional or activating your multidimensional you is really just helping you remember what you are. And we have been operating as multidimensional beings from the moment we took our first steps or our first breath on this planet. And we were pretty much at that point in our first moments and first years of our lives, we are very, very much connected as a multidimensional being. And it's in the growing up of the normal, the cultural norms, the cultural rules that we are taught, that our multidimensional selves start to kind of fraction off. They become their own consciousness, their own being. So that's why we spend a lot of our lives feeling pulled out of sorts and not completely whole. So multidimensional you is whole you. And I'm going to break this down a little bit and give you a visual, because there's a part of you that is in this 3D world, in this physical world. And in order for us to activate, integrate that piece of it, your human mind has to see something that it knows. It has to learn something. So we're going to be expanding the architecture of the human mind so we can expand it out and allow it to absorb maybe new information or a new perception of the same information that maybe it already knows, but given a little bit of a pivot of a perception, can expand it. And once it expands, now it's an open container to receive the information that might challenge it throughout the activation. If you weren't here last week, we did the activating the collective, activating the sacred collective. And I explained a lot of the work that we're doing in these activations, but just in case you haven't seen it, to give you a little bit of a preview of the activation. It's going to go on throughout this our time together here, and then we are going to consciously go into a deeper meditative state together, to really do the quantum work. And the quantum work is everything that gets done when we are in a meditative and conscious state. That's all this is jumping into the quantum and working with energy in order to expand and rearrange energy in order to pull in the integration of the multidimensional you. through all the different ways that we move energy. We move energy through words, through conscious thought, through movement and mudras. Many songs have mudras, through sounds and clicks. Um, oh, I was going to bring a rattle, and I didn't. I forgot it. So it's supposed to come out in one of these activations because it keeps calling me forward, but not this one apparently. So we're going to be doing a lot of rearranging of energy in the quantum. And if that sounds weird, stick with me throughout this, and hopefully the visuals of what we're talking about here will start to make your mind so, okay, I get what she's saying. I get it. And so when we get into the deeper work towards the end, you'll be in a receptive mode. So it's really important to be drinking lots of water throughout this activation, throughout these sunrise Sunday sessions, simply because we are doing some pretty in-depth work. And it may not feel like it, but just pay attention to how you feel later in the day as everything starts to kind of integrate in, settle in. You might feel that you're parched. I tend to get very, very parched and even tired, requiring a nap. Some kind of self-care. Maybe you just need to stop and feel like I just need to read or kind of like unplug for a minute. That is your body integrating the information that we are sharing as a collective. And this collective does already include those souls who will use this or who will come across this activation in the future. Last week, when we activated the sacred collective, we activated all the souls in and around the planet that will participate, that are and or will participate in these activations in some time. It is the perfect thing. It's the perfect message for them to receive at the perfect time to come online and to be activated in whatever recording they come across first. Those people have already been activated and are coming in. So their souls are already a part of this amazing adventure that we're calling Sunrise Sundays and these 12 weeks of activations. They're already a part of it. And there are millions of these souls. This is the beautiful work that we're doing, the multidimensional work, knowing that we are already, by activating multidimensional you, we're going to be also activating the first law, universal law, and that is the law of oneness. We are already one. And you've heard this a million times. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink. We have already heard this many times in spiritual, spiritual speak, is like, we are one and we are one. But what does that really mean? And really, what it comes down to is we are made and created from one consciousness, a consciousness that we can call source, God, nature, love, joy, whatever it is that you want to call it. And this one consciousness sparks off ideas and intentions. And these intentions become the stars, and it becomes the universe, and it becomes our planets, and it becomes our animals, and the consciousness then expands into life on here on earth, 3D physical life. It also becomes human beings, and has become us. And yet we are all one individualized expression of this one consciousness. Therefore, we are all operating as a soul collective, all consciously, I don't want to use that word, all consciously connected at a soul level, at a dimensional level. So the other piece we have to really kind of take a look at, and I'm going to be in the U Collective. This is an integration group that I'm running off of the Ascension Network. It's hosted in the Ascension Network. I'll have all the information in this video and on this page. But the Ascension Network is where I house the U Collective. That is our little group for these activations. And in there, I'm going to be following up this week, kind of breaking some of these terms down so we don't get too deep into the knowledge part. But one of the things that I'm going to be going down deeper into today is the dimensional piece. Because when we understand that we live in an infinite amount of dimensions, we then know that we're doing a lot more than what we're doing in this physical realm. we are also operating in dimensions of different frequencies and having our 3D lives play out as a reflection of us, you, me, in that frequency at that lifetime, that timeline. So it's a very, very mind opening thing to contemplate. When you know that you are here in physical form and you are consciously aware of this life, but as you start to expand your multidimensionality and you become connected to more and more of the multidimensional hues and different frequencies, you can tune into, you can learn with your intuitive powers that start to expand as your frequency expands. You can then tune into higher frequencies of you. And that's when you step into amazing results or amazing transformations in your physical life and you start to live differently. Sounds pretty intriguing, right? Um, it has changed my life. I'll tell you from a personal experience of me, just physical me, of the dead. I lived a really faithful life for the last 12 years or so, being faithful in meditation and in my spiritual practices, and also in expanding my knowledge on the mind and how it all connects, how it connects with our emotions, and really taking the emotional wellness piece of our lives and expanding the conversation on that, so that we can start to have a conversation of how does everything work together to then go out and create our lives. And when I do this, there's many different facets of our lives. We have the spiritual facet, we have our careers. We're going to go over this a little bit, but we've got all of these different facets of our lifestyle. And over time in my own physical life, I was not living a dimensional, multi-dimensional life. I was living very much a 3D life. And mindset is what is taught and what is known in the 3D world, in the conversations. Change your mindset, change your life, change, all the things. And there is very much truth to that. And I lived faithfully to that and continuing to up level my mind. I became a hypnotherapist and a life coach because I wanted to help others do the same and up level the human mind. And yet then I started to see um, the comparison, not the comparison, the integration of the heart and that chakra area, and how much of our emotional brain lies there. And we need this brain, but we also really need this brain too, because this brain tells us how close we are to the intention set by the mind, or what we think is imagination. And if we are really far from that, because we feel anxiety and worry and stress and depression, then that's also telling us that our lifestyle, something is really out of whack. It has to be. Because when we operate with this feeling very burdensome and very heavy, we are identifying with our physical world. We are identified in the 3D world. And that is the 3D world is the reflection of you, not outside world coming in and you're responding to it. It is a reflection of you. That's a lot for your mind because it wants to give me all the reasons that's not true. But if you stick with me and we start to integrate the multidimensional you, and we can get you floating up, so to speak, energetically. When you float up energetically, everything does too. Your mind does, it expands, your perception expands, everything starts to expand. So you look down on this, not look down in like judgment, right? We're not talking that. We look down from that higher perspective of your 3D life, my 3D life, and we say, oh, that's where we're off. And then that leads to that being off and that being off and that being off. That seems like a lot. How do I get all of these four things aligned and integrated? And that is what we're going to do. Multidimensional you already knows what the hell to do to get you into that space where burdens start to lift and your heart brain expands and you start to feel more love and joy and bliss and creativity in your life. And then your mind starts to rearrange itself because it's like, okay, this feels a little bit easier. Actually, I like this. And it expands and expands. And then that connection, that intuition starts to expand. And rather than understanding that your imagination is just some 3D, thing, you really understand that the imagination is the quantum information just specifically made for you, coming in, downloading into you because of that expansiveness of mind and heart. It expanded the vessel, you, big you. When I say big you, as the true essence you, higher self you, quantum you, that you expands and can then download information into a clear vessel, so to speak. And then you are operating as multidimensional you, and those solutions and the way in which those solutions comes also with this expanded heart center that knows exactly how to balance all of the emotions that come with transforming from 3D you to 5D you. So let's go in and let's talk about some of those words that I just talked about. I said 3D, 5D, multidimensional. We're going to break that down a little bit. But first, I want to just kind of get us all grounded together. I think so far we're getting there. And I love this. I love this process. There's street noise that's driving me crazy, but I know with the energy that we are creating in this space, our perfect space to gather every Sunday is going to be quiet. It's going to be it's already done. I am here raising my own energy so I can expand into that place, that next level of frequency where I can tune into the space that is perfect for me to bring you into this moment, to help code these activations with sacred silence and beauty for you. I want nature to come into this activation. And that's why I'm here with the sun coming up. It's a cloudy day, so the sun probably won't beam me like it did last week. But I was okay with it beaming me as well. I want the wind and the air. I don't want trucks. But for now, that's where the universe put me. And it said, you better start these. And I said, all right, I'm going to do it, but it's not perfect. And that's the whole point. When we spot imperfection in our 3D world, we know that there's a spot within us that is resonating with that frequency of manifestation. So by raising our frequency, then we get above that which is noisy, right? And then I can start to see, and I'm here in this phase looking at all the options. What else exists around here? That is a space, that is a beautiful space for my family to live, for us to hang out, and for us to have this beautiful garden, and for me to invite my friends into my space. And that includes you and all the people that will watch this in the future. You are a friend because your soul found this and came here and saw this and heard the noise and still heard the message enough where you keep coming back, and we watch this entire background change together. Because I have no idea what it is or where it is, and yet I feel that it is really, really close. So pay attention. We might have a new background soon. Thank you for letting me share that. I'm going to take a quick sip and then ground this down and just kick the table. Okay. Ground it down. I'm going to take my shoes off, actually, my flip-flops. Okay. Now I'm on the ground. If you can get your feet on the ground, get your feet on the ground with me, because it's such a beautiful act to just connect into the earth, and close your eyes for a minute. Just feel the energy start to pulsate and ground you down, imagining the red cord of energy going from your tailbone all the way down into the crystal core of earth, all the way down. And yes, earth does have a crystal core, and that crystal core just is the essence, the beauty, the essence of what Mother Earth, Gaia, is. And this red cord comes all the way up into your tailbone and connects into your consciousness of your crystal core. Feel the grounding. Feel the solidity and the stableness of being grounded into the earth. And bringing your attention all the way up to the top of your head and imagining a golden white cord going from the top of your head all the way up to your soul star. And yes, you have a soul star, and if you don't know where the hell it is, it's okay. Just allow it to connect in, and you'll start to get more and more glimpses of this as your multidimensional self starts to come online. Now bringing your attention down into your solar plexus, into your belly area, and bringing a deep, deep, deep breath from in your nose from this solar plexus area all the way up, and releasing. Bringing your attention all the way up to your heart space, that beautiful, beautiful space where you're, oh man, you're just your heart, brain, your soul, the essence of who you are resides here. It's like, oh, it's just so freaking juicy. This place, feel the energy start to build here, because this is the essence of who you are. It's not the body you're in, it's not the mind you're in, it is the heart space. It's not even the heart you're in, it's the heart space, the heart, the core, the crystal core of who you are. Your soul resides here. And taking a deep breath from here in your nose and holding at the top. Breathing it all the way in, allowing that heart energy to go through your entire body and blow it out. Taking another deep breath and allowing it to go through your entire body, shaking out your body as best as you can. Letting out any knots. Now bringing your attention up to the top of your head, to that beautiful, beautiful sacral space. That is your connection. That is your channel. It transcends imagination from everything we've been taught about imagination. It goes so much further into that quantum, into that soul star, into that place, that consciousness that knows every single thing and knows exactly why you're here and what you committed to doing and why your soul is here on this planet, in this time. And what a beautiful, beautiful gift it is for your soul to be here. Feel that sacral chakra start to expand, expanding the architecture. And that connection is the truest of connections, so much greater than the connection to the mind. And we allow your mind to expand, becoming an open receptor, an open communicator, an open container for the wisdom and the knowledge that we poured forth today. It will integrate this all new programming that it resonates with easily and effortlessly. And in the process, let go of any of the lower vibrational energies that no longer serve the mind, and they simply drop out from your field and also from your subconscious mind into the archives. Requesting energetic protection of all knowledge, all energies exchanged. And if any energy resonates at a lower frequency than in the frequency of love or joy, bliss, truth, if anything comes in lower than that, simply drop it out of our fields, allowing any resonant timelines to also fall and drop and into the archives. Okay, open your eyes, coming back in. We're going to go in and out like that. So we simply just expanded the architecture of your heart, your mind, your consciousness to open. Okay, and you are safe in that if anything doesn't resonate with you, we also opened the communication line of anything that does not resonate for you, drops immediately out of your subconscious as well as your energetic mind. So the only things that are accepted into your expanded container are those nuggets of words, energy, shifts, whatever it is that happens in our activation today that resonate with the frequency of love. Oh, I forgot my card. I have a card I want to show you. And it's basically, if you've been around me for a while, you've seen the card because it's everything. And this card goes everywhere with me, except from my backpack, because I always have it in my backpack. So if I'm talking to people, I get conversations going, and they ask me what I do. It's the best tool, because if I start telling them I help activate multidimensional you, so you can, operate in different dimensions, people don't really want to hear that weird, and they automatically check out. I haven't even gone to that route because I know what's going to happen. So I use my little card, and at the bottom of the card, it's a ladder. And at the bottom is shame. It's the lowest form of energy, emotional energy that we can feel as humans in our 3D world. And it goes all the way up to bliss, which is the highest vibrational energy. We cannot live our lives directly in one. Otherwise, it's too much. It's too much. Isn't that interesting? If we live in shame for our entire lives, we feel, constant heaviness and burdensome feelings. We feel like a burden. We feel like a tax on society. We end up bringing that energy into our physical bodies. And majority of the time, if you live in a lot of shame, you have a lot of gut weight, lots of shame. It sits deep. Ooh. So food goes ooh and sits there. So there may be gut issues. There may be reproductive issues. There's a million different issues that come when someone lives in just shame. The opposite is true about bliss. Bliss will have your physical body will be healthy, but you just won't be fully grounded in the 3D. So if you operate at the very, very high frequency right now, where our planet has been energetically, the operating the world feels really dense. So just, going out into the world feels really hard because you're in this blissful state. So anything dense feels really painful. So you end up avoiding it and kind of checking out of the world. You're not grounded into the world. We want to find that balance at the frequency of love. And from a place of love, from that frequency of love, now we are in that 5D multidimensionality. And our planet, as I explained last week in the sacred collective activation, our planet and humanity, everything is rising in frequency. So we will be able to operate a little bit above in that love and joy as our main baseline, but still be able to feel grounded in the world. So what the heck am I talking about? Let's go. I'm going to do something very brave and attempt to share my screen. Okay, tell me one person can share at a time. So, okay. Oh, here we go. I think I want to go to my desktop. Share. Okay, thank you for your patience. And I'm going to move me out of the way. Okay, here we are. Multi-dimensional you. I'm going to put me down here, I think. I don't know. Okay. For missioned souls ready to activate their multidimensional frequency and experience a quantum lifestyle, more meaning, purpose, and abundance. So let's talk about the mission soul part of this. Okay. It's not going to be all PowerPoint, but I wanted to put a couple visuals together for your mind. Remember, we've expanded the architecture. Not that we're trying to fill it. We're just trying to give it ideas. We're going to give some ideas to your human mind to absorb and say, oh, okay. So we're going to take some of what we already know normally in the 3D world and expand the conversation from mindset emotional wellness up into the multidimensional frequency conversation. So mission souls are you, multidimensional you. We chase book after book after book in the 3D world looking for, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? I don't know what my purpose is. And right? I mean, just a couple, yeah. The purpose is for us to live our multi-dimensional missioned soul life. The mission means you are here on a mission. It is like super sci-fi kind of cool, which is why I picked worlds and, space in the background. Let's pretend we are multi-dimensional beings. We come from here from a soul star, and that consciousness that came from the soul star had a high frequency. That high frequency is not in physical form, because it is of the highest frequency that there is. There are different dimensions. I'm going to be breaking this down in the You Collective. So I'm not going to go there yet, but I will. When you came into your soul expression as a human, you were asked to bring something to the planet. And whatever you bring to the planet is so goddamn natural for you that it just can't be so for so many people, including myself. I'm here actually operating as my multidimensional you in a new life, and literally in a new world that I've chosen, that we moved into a month ago. And it has rocked my world living as fully multidimensional me, because I'm understanding for the first time in my own life as the dead, as the human, how simple it is to have a lifestyle that is completely different from what I had in the suburbs of Texas, and the rat race, the running around, the keeping up with expectations, and majority of the time not even meeting the expectations. I had really high expectations for myself, and other people in my life had really high expectations. It didn't seem like I was meeting anyone's expectation. And yet I grew up in a very privileged and, college educated, smart, had the careers and the all the things, and it was not working for me. It didn't feel fulfilling. It didn't give me enough time with my family. It just didn't work. It didn't resonate. And I couldn't figure out why it didn't resonate, because quite frankly, when I looked around, I'm like, what do I have to be unhappy about? And it wasn't that I was unhappy. It was just like, man, I want more. And not in the form of things, not in a bigger house. I just wanted more meaning. So it seemed like a whim, and yet it wasn't. It was when I say a whim, things happen so quickly for me. Once I choose to decide to make a change, it happens really quickly. And in a conversation with my husband, we said, we want more than this. I don't want to just get by and live a comfortable life. I want more. And from that intention, just stating that, things shifted so fast. I had been activated in September, and by October, we decided to switch everything up in our lives. And by March of the next year, we were in it, and we are here. We are here in this place. I'm calling it Mexico, but it is my 5D expression of in this moment. And what I'm finding is stepping into this multidimensional life has been so incredibly simple. The burden that I have experienced is understanding how to live this multi-dimensional life in peace, because I'm still in that calibration phase where I'm feeling myself fearing the simplicity, because now I'm so afraid of it going away. There's like that fear, like, oh, this might go away and I have to go back to that life. I won't survive. I cannot go backwards. And yet, remembering in those moments, these multi-dimensional ideas of like, wait a minute, but I'm supposed to be here because I'm a mission soul and I was sent here. My mind thought we were going to Spain, but I'm in Mexico because because this higher consciousness, my higher self brought me here. I am missioned to be here in this time frame, in this timeline, to live and acclimate to this multi-dimensional frequency. And in doing so, y'all, my lifestyle is becoming more meaningful. Doesn't mean it's easy though. Okay? There's still this aspect of the 3D world that feels really burdensome. So I'm calibrating that. But I feel more purposeful. I'm here with you. And that's one of the most beautiful things of dedicating myself for the next 12 weeks to being here at 7 o'clock on a Sunday, 7 a.m., to invite you into my own multi-dimensional activation, because this is activating the next layer of the higher self that takes me from where I am now into the next moment. And I'm finding more abundance. It's insane how much I chased money. And here it just seems to be there. And if you've known me before, I've worked very, very hard on my money mindset and understanding money. I have always had it, and yet it didn't have it. I had a very beautiful lifestyle, but never had any money. And it wasn't always like, at one point it was in credit cards and all this shit. Then it wasn't, then it was just like, get rid of that. I will just take cash only. And live my life now on cash only. And that sometimes, cash isn't always there. That's when you pop out the old credit card, but that part of my 3D life is done. So I reside here in this moment as multidimensional me, and welcoming you into the evolution of our multidimensional selves together. Okay, so I don't know how to go to the next one. Oh, here we go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, I talk a lot about frequency. I don't want that off. Okay. So frequency is consciousness. How we resonate creates the consciousness that then pulls in our reality. I'm going to move me up here now. So what this means is your frequency is determined really from what you bring. What is your mission? What is the service that you are here to bring? And I'm going to say humanity, but I don't want that to scare anyone. What we're talking about with this is your service. Your service may be to be the mom that you are here to be in this moment. That is your service to humanity, right? It may be, my husband takes care of plants and buys and sells them, but in between there, he is a gentle, beautiful nurturer of plants. And his service to humanity is simply being out nurturing his plants, because the energy exchange between the two takes him and that plant into a higher frequency, right? Because there's consciousness on both ends. And when that consciousness is as at a consciousness of love, that cycle is now quantum physics in motion. And that energy, then that frequency, brings the frequency of everything around it up. And as everything else starts to come up, everything around it starts to come up. That butterfly effect, all of that is created simply by being of service. Me being here with you and connecting with you and all the different souls that we activated to be part of this community, even though their 3D eyeballs aren't on this right now, their consciousness is, because that consciousness is raising up to meet ours. And it's saying, oh, wait a minute, there's something over here. And this, what we're creating here, is coming towards them. We're resonating. So eventually, whatever that timeline is, eventually that comes in and they'll see this recording. So they're already a part of it. because in the quantum, everything is one. We're activating the oneness and the unity consciousness between us. What a beautiful, beautiful thing we get to do here on these recordings. Okay. From there, the frequency is also determined by the level of abundance in our lifestyle. We're not talking about the normal word abundance of money, right? Abundance comes in many different ways. Yes, how you live and function with money in the 3D world is part of that. But your lifestyle is so many other things. And we're going to go through that here in a little bit. But lifestyle, when you have an abundant lifestyle in health and well being, and you have a whole, holistic, healthy lifestyle, you are abundant. You can be abundant in money and lacking everywhere else. You are not a whole person. You can buy whatever you want, but you're not the whole multidimensional being. The light frequency is brought also by light. They just turned the filter on the pool. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm sure it's going to be back there. Light is brought not only in energy from our galactic friends, our meaning our planets, sun. I call like the sun my friend. Like, oh, hello, friend, there you are. So the sun gives us radiant, beautiful energy. Everything is, remember, like everything in excess, not necessarily all that good. So sun in excess, yes, we've been taught that's not great. But being out in the sun for a healthy amount of time every day brings light, this energetic frequencies that come in. And without us even having to do any freaking work except for walking out the door and getting in the sun or in nature, we then start to get light energy, high frequency photon light from the sun. We get high frequency light energy from the water, oceans, streams, rivers, wherever you are. We get it from grounding ourselves in the earth, and my feet are in the earth right now, right? The air, the breeze. That's why I do all of these things outside. So we've got noises all around us, but we are not at all bothered by that because we are here in being held in the sacred container of nature. And we are being imbued with light, and it comes into me, and the energy I send out to you is already imbued with that higher frequency light as well. So it is now being imbued in you, watching it. This is how it works. We're working with energy here. You don't have to be in my space to feel the energy. You feel it from here. And this light then transcends everything we already know. It expands the mind, it expands the heart, it expands our connection with the quantum, and it gives us higher knowledge, higher truths. That's when we get the aha moments. We get the downloads, right? We get the downloads of knowledge, and we're like, oh my gosh, these three things, being of service and being in a whole holistic, healthy lifestyle and putting yourselves in, this isn't light knowledge isn't always going out and taking a course, right? I said something about the sun, and look, it's coming. It is going to beam me here in a minute. It's not always taking another workshop. Knowledge can just be sitting in the silence of meditation and allowing yourself to go into the quantum and start to play around with different timelines, play around with what is it that I want? Do I want it to look like this, but I don't really like that. So nope, that's not it. And you move that timeline out. No, purge that from your field. Go back into the quantum now in meditation and say, I would love for it to look and feel and be like this. And then it's like this and this and this, that's perfect. Oh my gosh, there's nothing about it I don't love. And then you ground that in. That then becomes the intention and the light knowledge that comes in synchronistically because you are in your 5D multi-dimensional self will start to then send you the wisdom it takes to create that in the 3D world. You'll just meet the people. When I was talking about manifesting a place to do these, that's actually quiet and beautiful. And I mean, this is very beautiful. It's a beautiful garden. It's just noisy. When I was talking about that at the beginning, I have it. It's in the quantum. It's organizing itself. So yesterday I met some random lady, and she happened to be a realtor, and I'd already reached out to a couple people that, just said, nope, nothing available. And I was like, that's all you got? That's what you got? So now my request became, looking for a creative realtor who can think outside the box and not just trust what the computer says is available or not. Anyone interested? Easy enough. So now I work to organize that into something that delivers a beautiful space, a beautiful quiet space for us to convene on these Sundays. So the frequency is then transferred into these different multidimensional beings. So we're going to just talk about 3 parts of us because ultimately we are infinite in our dimensional self. So we have the 3D reality, which is our physical reality. It's the part of us that we can touch and feel, and we are most familiar with because we've spent our entire lives with them. The 3D reality is really where we are taught to pay attention to the intelligent quotient, our IQ, how smart we are. We go to school, we try to get knowledge, right? We try to get knowledge. We're taught to get knowledge in this bulk of information that lasts from kindergarten to 12th grade. If you so choose, you can go on and you get these kind of that, the more knowledge. And that then gives you your 3D, reflects then your 3D world. So if you go on and do all of that, chances are good that you probably be all right getting the stable house and having the family and doing all the things. We are taught in this culture kind of how to do it the best way to be like the happiest in just the 3D function. Understand, however, that there are many dimensional realities within the 3D world. So there's all these parts, different realities of you that are living your life, but just in a slight variance of frequency. And when you vary your frequency, and let's say you have a really good day, you tune up into the next frequency level, the next 3D dimension of you, looks the same, but sometimes you appreciate it a little bit more, or maybe you notice something beautiful that you hadn't noticed about your life before. You raise up in frequency, so you get new truths, right? You get new truths, and those truths are typically from a place of love, like, oh, I'm so grateful for this. And then you stub your toe and you're pissed off, and you tune back down into this one, and then you look at that same thing and you're like, good shit, that's not all that great. I was so grateful for it yesterday, but not today. It's simply because you're tuned into 2 different timelines. You're going back and forth in between timelines. When you start to live as your multidimensional self, you'll go from this like baseline timeline that you've been on and continually tune into different realities, and all of this will start to change. But those things here on this baseline that were causing you some pain or some frustration, they're going to have to shake loose a little bit. Okay. So that they will need to be adjusted, because if they're resonating down here, they won't resonate at a higher frequency. So they either have to be removed, adjusted, or brought into the light, so they too can rise up in their own frequency and resonate with you as you grow. So it takes some bravery, because you're going to have to really look at the things in the 3D that have been a little uncomfortable. Then you have your 4D part of you. This is a higher frequency than 3D, so it's not a physical thing. You can't see it. It's at a higher frequency. Okay, at a higher frequency, then this is your heart. This is that heart space. This is where your emotional quotient, your EQ is. We're not taught that in our normal, our normal life, right? So for a long time in my career, I have taught the EQ, the emotional quotient. It's been my job to teach it to my kids, because I knew they weren't going to go to school and learn really how to raise their emotional frequency, their emotional wellness, their emotional quotient. How do they respond or react in the world? When something in the 3D world punches them in the face or myself, how do I respond to it in a higher level of emotional intelligence, or do I react to it and bring in those lower frequency emotions like anger and all shame and resentment and judgment. And that's a response. And that comes from a lower IQ. And what I can see out in the world is we might be really smart. There's a lot of really smart people and they got lots of degrees and they got lots of success and maybe even have some money. But that does not equate to having the emotional intelligence to be able to operate in the world from a place of service and abundance and knowledge. There can be a lot of what looks like 3D success and have it be tainted with fear and anger and resentment. And that means that a very, very low emotional quotient is there, and that person is very disconnected from their 4D self. Okay. So if your baseline resonance, your baseline feeling every day is at a very low frequency, you are detached from your 4D self. We are going to integrate that. The 4D self is the one that acknowledges how integrated you are in the 3D with your 5D. It's the portal. The heart area is the portal from higher consciousness, from your higher self to the 3D world. When they're integrated and multidimensional, you are operating as a wholly dimensional being. That is where you want to be, to ease and flow into a higher level of existence, a higher level of service, a higher level of abundance. At the 5D level, that is where your soul resides. This is where you go from physical into energetic, into consciousness, into pure consciousness. Your soul is attached to that soul star that is pure consciousness. It is the place of co-creation, the co-creation between you and the quantum level, quantum field, and your guides. Now, we are not the only ones. You are not the only dimensional expression of the source, one source. There are more numbers than I even know how to explain. Therefore, we are not the only consciousnesses out there. In the 5D level, we are able to communicate with other consciousnesses and work and co-create so that we can come together. That is what we're doing on a quantum level with calling in the sacred collective, those souls that are going to be here now and here in the future on this recording. They are co-creating this with us because their consciousness is already tuned into this, even though if their 3D mind hasn't identified it yet. There's still all of this conscious work going on between us right now and wherever they are in this now moment. We are still co-creating this. There are millions of people co-creating this. Not even people, there are millions of consciousnesses that are co-creating right now. And we are all bringing our higher frequencies together. This recording and this moment is so highly, highly potent. I'm going to anchor in that high frequency, bringing that high frequency into this grid that is this collective, and each soul that is on this collective right here, right now, on this recording, on this video, wherever you're seeing it. Your soul is co-creating right now, and we want to give so much gratitude to being here, being part of the grid that is the consciousness of these activations and this you collective. We welcome your soul here, activating this grid, lighting up all around the planet. And for every single soul that's part of this grid in co-creation, we light up in this moment a blessing of gratitude and a blessing of abundance. Each soul co-creating this right now is given their value in energy, in abundance, in love, allowing this knowledge to light up in their own energetic grids so that they come into a moment of knowledge and truth, allowing them to remember just a little bit more of who they are so that they can come even closer to actually meeting us in this space in the 3D. So let's talk a little bit about lifestyle. I'm not going to go through this in too much depth, but the 3D lifestyle is very much, actually, I have creativity there, but it's usually, well, creativity. This is kind of how it's broken up. Our lifestyle is involved in, spirituality, the connection that we have, creatively. What are we creatively? It goes into our finances. It includes our career, health, friends, adventure, meaning like, what do we do? This left side is very heavy to the personal connection piece. That's a massive, massive part and potent part of the human, the human experience is the connection and the connectivity, which is, I think, quite interesting that that's what has been shaved off of in this last year, of our human beingness from, the those who shut down our world, shut down the one thing that is the most potent, and that is our human connection, because that is where our 5D selves really come together and see each other and be seen. And the ability to see and be seen was taken out for over a year of many people, and many people are still in it. And that is crushing the lifestyle of many people, which then brings down their frequency, which then brings down the way in which they feel diminished, saddened, lonely. And then that also shuts down connection and connectivity with their 5D self, the part of them that knows the answer, that knows the truth, that knows that if they rise up and start really looking at things from a higher perspective, from their multidimensional self, that none of that had to be cut out. I'm going to call it like it is. We have been duped, and we have been led down a pathway of taking out the most potent things for our consciousness to rise, so that it would go down. And when it goes down, it's much easier to keep us in fear. When we come up and we start operating in love and truth, and we start seeing things from a higher perspective, we can start seeing some things that need to be changed. Starts here, which is why we're here on this activation. When we go into the 5D lifestyle, everything kind of changes a little bit. It shifts. The interesting thing, and this is what I was talking about with integrating into a 5D lifestyle for myself, is how much of this really all just it just integrates into one thing. Creatively, what is it that I value in every now moment? What is it I value right now being with you? So I can say this is my creativity coming through, but it's really, I value this time, so I'm here. Service comes into that as well. What am I giving? What is my career? I'm giving of myself, giving of service around the things that I value, and those who value the similar things will connect. What is my mission? The mission is I'm here to raise the frequency of our planet, to plug people into the energetic grid and bring it up to a higher frequency, so that we can pull people out of those lower vibrational energies, so that they can connect into our grid, holding space for a higher frequency grid. The physical health comes of, lost 25 pounds this past month, or not this past month, that would be probably dangerous. 25 pounds in this last year, not from any diet. I've got nothing to give other than by coming into my multidimensional self, everything just melted off. And I'm, for the first time in a 46-year-old human body, and love my body for the first time. And I've had a lot of issues around that, and I feel so good in my body. The community in which we operate with becomes more like our soul family. So these two integrate, these two bubbles integrate. Our soul family, sometimes in up leveling, we have to let go of friends and or family in order that don't resonate with us anymore. And we all have them. Everyone has the people in their family, like, man, like they're just really hard. And we think it's our obligation as family to, to keep working the hard, to keep doing the hard, just because we're family. But they're as a multidimensional self, you'll start to see a higher and higher perspective of why it's just better to, remove. And it doesn't have to be some dramatic thing. It can just simply be like, hey, I got to walk away for a while. I got to see what, I got to go change a little bit. And no one needs any explanations. But your definition of family will start to change. They'll go from what we know is normal to normally weird. Majority of my family is my soul family. We aren't biologically connected, but we are people that all came together in a beautiful and higher frequency, and just saw each other and saw that they were giving of themselves, and they valued things that I value, and they became my family. And this also comes down to the frequency. So all of this really comes together, that the 5D lifestyle is just you living you. And the lifestyle and the money and everything starts to follow, because you are living truthful to you and releasing the burdens of all of that 3D stuff that you were taught and did really well at. But if it's not working, it's because you are disconnected from the 4D and 5D self. So how this really works is like, if you imagine it, it's all one. You're all one, right? The universal law is we're all one. But if you would see it as this, the 5D self is the unseen part of you, the frequency. It's the energetic part of you. It is it's the consciousness. It's the consciousness. The 4D part of you is the energetic part of you. And when that is fully integrated with that higher self, with that soul part, then it comes down into the 3D and grounds itself in the world, and it becomes a reflection of your integration with your higher self. Therefore, your 3D life and your lifestyle changes pretty drastically and pretty quickly when you start to operate in this vertical way. Because this is, oops, sorry, I just hit my microphone. When we operate in this vertical way, we are fully ingrained and grounded in the now moment. If we are living with sadness or shame or regret, we are living in the past, which is in linear time. It's already like we're way past that now moment. So nothing can change it except for what we do in this now moment based on what we have learned from that previous moment. But if we sit in anxiety and worry, we are worrying about the future, which again is not even a now moment. And this now moment can take us to a higher timeline that then transcends that timeline that we were resonating with when we were in worry. So if we are here and all of a sudden we're worried about something with our kids, that drops us energetically down here to a different timeline, a different expression. Remember, there's different dimensional realities in the 3D world. We go down to this dimensional reality where, probably something is going to work out for you to worry about or feel bad about. But if you're here and you notice this, that's when you can raise yourself up, because you notice your 4D self is saying, hey, we're going down. We're not feeling so hot. And then your 5D self can say, hold on, honey, come back up, fine. Go out in nature, turn some music on, take a nap, meditate, come back to now. Come back to now. Anchoring in the now moment, in this level of consciousness and frequency, bringing that moment, that word now, back, now. Anchoring in that now moment, in this frequency, so that every single time you remember and you come back to now, you come back to this frequency or higher. Any frequencies lower than this moment right now, we drop out of your field, out of your field and archived away. Any resonant timelines along with those lower frequencies can also be dropped out of the field and archived. All karmic energy around those timelines can also be released and archived. From this moment on, the now moment includes only this frequency or higher. Okay. So we're going to anchor all of that in. Okay. I think by now you'll have a good understanding of what we're talking about. It's being so grounded and anchored in the now moment that if you are feeling anything below love, below a love for life and a gratitude for life, then you come back to now. because it's just telling you you're getting too far in the future, getting too far in the past. That's very attached and connected to the 3D outcomes. You can't change those outcomes or those timelines unless you come back to now. And in this moment, in this now moment, I want you to take a look at this visual on the screen. And this visual is very, very much an entryway, a portal into the quantum. And if you just visualize this and bring it into your mind, and every time you have to bring yourself back into the now for a split second, you'll see this visual, and it will then remind you that you are back into the portal through your 4D self into your 5D self. And at this point, your higher self can come in and download any messages you are needed to hear in that moment. And in the moment you bring yourself back to the now, you raise and expand your architecture, expand the architecture of your mind, of your heart, and of your consciousness to see a truthful moment, a truthful piece of light, truthful knowledge will then anchor down into your beingness, give you more insight, and you are now in a higher frequency of truth, simply because you brought yourself back to the now. Breathing that in deeply. Okay, putting your hand over your heart. Allowing any noise to bring you back into this now moment, tuning into everything in this now moment. Everything is in pure divine perfection. And in that moment, that 3D expression of life had no effect on lowering any emotional energy. That is our 5D selves, raising the frequency of ourselves, and we are only tuned into the sounds of my voice, the sounds of those things that are shifting energy, shifting timelines, purging old energies, outdated patterns, outdated behaviors, all being archived, and all karmic resonance with those archived thoughts, behaviors, and patterns are also archived and out of your field. And coming back into your body, calibrating and grounding down from this activation, allowing yourself to come back into your body, into your 3D body, knowing that you are now fully integrated in this moment with your 4D and 5D self. From here on out, throughout the rest of the week, you will be getting a lot of insights. You may feel a little disoriented. A lot of times I explain it like this, like back in the day, in my partying days, the day after when you're kind of hungover and you're like, oh, you feel like you're in between two worlds. That's what this will feel like, although it won't be from alcohol. It'll simply be from the shift of energy that we've just done together. So it's quite powerful. Drink lots of water because that'll help you purge out the toxins of anything that we've released, as well as anchor in the higher frequencies. This is an ongoing process. So you will have weird things happen. Obvious things will start to kind of come into your consciousness. Things that maybe have been challenged will come, will be a little bit more obvious. Actually, let me go back here. So just pay attention to what is happening when throughout the week. I will invite you over to there we go. I will invite you over to the U Collective, which is our integration collective for these activations. So in the U Collective, this week, I'm going to be really breaking down the multidimensionality piece into smaller nuggets of information, so you're understanding it more. Now you kind of like we're given all of it, but then we'll start to feed in some clarity, and that'll start to ground this frequency into you, as well as the integration will help you ground it down and calibrate it much easier than just being like zing, and now you've got to go figure it out on your own while you're trying to operate in the world. Um, don't don't disregard the kind of work that we just did. It was a lot. So you definitely want to take care of yourself. If you have any questions, you can find me on social media for now, although I all of my information is there to connect with me. I am going to be taking a little bit of a break from social media for a little while, just because. But until then, reach out to me. Find me in the Ascension Network. It's kind of where I'm hanging out most. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending this Sunday with me. I am so grateful, and this wind is picking up. So nature is also saying how grateful she is that our consciousnesses, that our collective, that our souls came together to co-create this space that has been so beautiful. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for allowing me to be the channel and just the director of the energy and the hold space for all of us to come together. It's been my pleasure. It's been my honor. It's been my mission. So thank you for being part of my mission.